We love some action, so more action to come in Hazbin Hotel. Of all kinds.
Of all kinds. And cut.
Oh, man. Well, I think there's a lot of Charlie in me. There's a lot of Charlie in me. The determination and the stubbornness to do something that is hard.
I just hope what I'm trying to do here will work.
It will. I have faith in you.
I feel like there's a lot of Pentious in me, actually.
Oh, that's
Yeah. There's an element of like being kind of a nerdy, like very fixated on your own like things in a like group of very, very like cool people. And that's kind of how I feel a lot.
Now cower! For when I've slain you, the almighty V's will finally acknowledge me as their equal.
Ooh. Wait, who are the beasts?
Oh, nobody important.
And then I also Vaggie, because Vaggie also has like
Yes.
this kind of like protectiveness, this kind of fiery like anger that kind of flares up and stuff. And I definitely felt that a lot. So I would say those three.
I do definitely see the Charlie and Baggy in you. Like, I can see that duality.
We want people to want to come here. This makes it look,
Bad. The word you're looking for is bad.
Definitely a lot of Charlie. I also feel like I have some Nifty in me in the sense that I can be weirdly like aggressively violent without meaning to. It's just when I'm trying to show love to people, it's like squeezing a dog too hard. I'm like, I love you so much. And that's how Nifty kind of is in her own way.
over here, we have our maid Nifty.
The bad boy is back. Never leave me again.
And the third is, I have a lot in common with Lucifer, I think, in the sense that sometimes I say things without thinking and then immediately go, why did you say that? And I think that's what he has a lot. He's like awkward dad vibes, and I too am awkward dad vibes a lot of the days of my life. I understand why he's Charlie's dad.
Oh, this is the first time she's called you in years. This has to be perfect.
Hey,
Hi, Dad.
What I love about doing like conventions and stuff is you get to see hundreds of people who all have stories and all have costumes and cosplays and like fun things and like gifts and stuff. So, I mean, for me, the most memorable ones are always the proposal stories. Because there's been a lot. There's so many. There's amazing fans who like are in like Charlie and Baggy cosplay, and they'll like come up to me at the con and be like, we just got engaged, and like show me the ring and everything. I always freak out. Those are like incredible. And then, just knowing people met through the show, I'm like, that's amazing.
That's the best. Yeah. People who met through the show, people who get proposed to in the Charlie and Baggy cosplays, or they identify with that queer relationship and like just loving relationship. I also really enjoy when I have dads and daughters come up, and dads who are like, oh, I wasn't really sure if I was going to like this show, but then my daughter introduced it to me and I really liked the song more than anything between Charlie and Lucifer. And they go, we're going to play it at like her graduation or at the wedding if it's the first dance that they've been talking about having together. So I think that's really special because I just like seeing how the show has given fathers and daughters something to bond over, which can be kind of hard when you're a teenage girl. And I think because the show has the comedy it has, and also the heart, I find that dads will come up and go, I didn't know if I was going to like this, but it made me cry.
So great.
Which
yeah.
I love. I'm like, the stamp of approval from a middle-aged dad on Hazbin Hotel is not something I thought we were going for, but we're getting it.
Oh man, well it's so funny because something I was seeing a lot in like the comments was the style, because I made the pilot so long ago, and it was something that was had so many hands on it and had kind of the scrappiness about it. So the series is much more streamlined, and I felt like I grew as an artist so much, and it was so many years in the development and to the final product that I was seeing a lot of people be like, wow, the style looks super different, and I was like, does it? Like, really? And I realized that it was just because my art style just naturally developed in that time. And so I was drawing the whole time, but because it was enough time to really find like the voice of the show, it looked different than what it originally was. And to me, that was like a big like, whoa, like I've come so far. Like because I really like what the style looks like now. And so I was like, wow, like I did change because I like got better.
That's so cool though, but that you can see designs from over time and see your talent get even more specific and clear.
Yeah.
my pre-recording rituals are to take a deep breath, and that sounds so simple, but she lives in such a heightened place that there are moments where our voice director will kind of tell me, and where Viv will tell me too, like, hey, don't pass out in the voiceover booth. So I actually do a full vocal warm-up and just try and breathe deeply, because it's so easy with Charlie to get into like the asthmatic, she's going to pass out from excitement. So that's one thing. And then I always listen to a little bit of Happy Day in Hell, because I just think it was the first thing I ever heard that Charlie was going to do in our series. And it puts me in the mindset of what the whole show is about. It's kind of easy to get lost sometimes when you're going from episode to episode and you're only popping in and out of the voice booth maybe once a week or so. Just remembering, okay, what is the core of this character? And I listen to the song because it always reminds me, like, redemption is the core. That is what she's going for. So just take that with you. Even if it's not in the scene, that still is within her somewhere. My husband's always like, why are you listening to yourself again? I'm like, it's not. It's for research. I'm going to the session.
I have to be prepared. Oh man, I mean, so many things. I've always loved unique, stylized takes on kind of pre-established things, whether it be fairy tales or public domain stories, like in mythology. Like, so many things obviously have been done with like Greek mythology. And I wanted to go into something that I was interested in, but also had kind of like something to say, you know, because I also feel like as a writer and a creator, I want to say something with my work. And so, you know, there's so many things in like biblical text and demonology and all these things that are like kind of like not only interesting, but they're, you know, sourced in so many different religions all over the world. And to do my own take on it with also kind of this female perspective that I have, you know, especially with things like, you know, these old stories of like Adam and Eve and Lucifer, and, you know, and kind of do my own version of that. And then on top of that, creating a living, breathing world that had its own rules and its own society and its own system. And so, you know, like creating the overlords and the, you know, the hellborns and the, you know, the people who die and go to hell, like what they turn into, like all that is just so fun. It's like a massive playground. And because it's kind of not directly based on anything real, it's kind of sourcing from so many different places, it feels like its own fantasy world. So, and it's also, I like villains and monsters, so, you know, that's just a plus to get to design that all day.
The fans love when they can catch when you've used accurate depictions from all the things you pull from in the Helliverse, because it just reminds them, like, right, this is a well-researched world that you've built. It's not just, it is from your imagination, but it's pulling from so many different things to have accuracy and to have textured layers of like historical context as well.
Yeah, I really like doing that. I mean, even like I'll use Lucifer as an example. Like, you know, he was the most beautiful angel and like, you know, had this arrogance and stuff in the original story. So I was like, you know, I want to do kind of like a ringleader P.T. Barnum kind of take on that, where he like was overambitious but kind of like, you know, delusional in how much he could do and had this like really inventive imagination. And I kind of went the more porcelain doll with like, you know, the prettiest angel. I mean, obviously, I'm super excited because, you know, season 2 hasn't come yet. So I'm really excited for people to see that. But like 3 and 4, I mean, what's exciting is, I think like the safest thing I can say, because it gives nothing away other than hype, is that season 3 personally is my favorite part of the story. So I'm really excited for that. So excited. So just hype. Season 3 is, I hope I'm using this word in the right context, revelations, maybe? Like revelations. And it's also a biblical term, so it's like, I think, right? Am I wrong?
The book of Revelations is somewhere in the
Perfect.
Bible.
So that
I don't know where. But.
And season 4, I think, you know, I feel like just maybe like family. So those are very broad to be very safe, but I think they fit.
This is how our fans must feel all the time. My brain is just like, what does that mean?
What does that mean? What is
Whose
that?
family? My family? Their family? What does it mean?
Yeah, exactly. I am a massive fan of The Boys. It's just. I mean, like the tone, like, is this raunchy, super like violent, vulgar, like cursing as much as my show. Like, I love it, and the characters are amazing, and also just just the story, like everything
story is
about
so
it. Like
good.
I could gush over it forever.
And the world building in The Boys is similar, where like the way that they introduce the world over the course of the seasons and bit by bit, I just feel like you tap back in and you're immediately like, oh, of course I'm going to go on the ride for this ridiculous thing that I'm watching in this episode, because you've given me breadcrumbs to get to this point where we don't go like, wait, what's happening now? We go, of course that's happening. And only The Boys can pull it off.
Yeah, I love that. And then also just throwing it to animation, I also just watched the Sausage Party animated show because I was a massive fan of the original movie. I saw it way too many times in theaters. I saw it like an inhuman amount in theaters, I think 6 times. Yeah, it became my like comfort movie for that year because it was an adult animated thing,
and it's
so
quite
cartoony.
adult.
And so seeing it come back, I was just like, this is so fun. And yeah, they were able to top themselves in the oh my god factor. So.
It was insane. Oh, and the last season of Invincible, which feels like
which is also
we wanted
amazing. Similar to The Boys in the sense of such a unique take on superhero stuff. So.
The voice acting in Invincible, I was like, oh, I should watch this and just learn from it because they're all so good. That's always like, I always look at the voice acting part. I'm sure you're looking at the designs, our separate roles and things.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, the action sequences. Ooh,
so good.
We have some fun action.
We do. Yeah, we could tease that. We have action coming.
We have some action.
Because I love action. We love some action. So more action to come in Hazbin Hotel. Of all kinds. Yeah.
Of all kinds. Physical and sexual.
Yes.
Okay. And cut.